Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com. It is in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to us directly. Reach out to tmosso@the1916company.com for pricing. Today we're discussing a model that is the heart and soul of H. Moser Cie. Now, the company reestablished in the modern era in 2005. The next year it launched a Andreas Streller designed perpetual calendar system in its Moser Perpetual model. Cue the arrival of the Milan family and MELB Holdings in 2012, and they decided to rebuild the brand around the now Endeavour line with the Perpetual as the flagship. So this Endeavour Perpetual is an extraordinary watch that is the heart and soul of modern Moser. White gold, it is 40.8 millimeters in diameter, slim at 11.3 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 47 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The watch wears well in white gold. It has a gratifying weight to it, but you can see that there's a couple of things going on here. First, the lugs are sharply downturned, but also notice that the case back is curved. So you have a really accommodating lug-to-lug span of 47 millimeters, and then a wonderful curvature of both case back and lugs, so it fits securely. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. You can see it fits easily under a cuff. I would recommend this for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference with total confidence. The strap, as you can see, alligator leather, large rectangular scale alligator leather in black. When you have large rectangular symmetrical scales, that always means a high grade of the hide. You can see it has a sheer cut side with lacquering, a monotone stitch on the bottom calfskin, and a Moser factory strap in brand new condition. We have a matching white gold pin buckle with both polish and satin. And you can see that this is gray gold, or the type of white gold that is 18 karat white all the way through. There's no yellow substrate below rhodium plating. This is true homogeneous straight through white gold, known as gray gold in the industry. The case is sexy. Look at the bezel, not just concave all around for grace, but look how it swells at 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock and then thins out at the mid case. Look at the curvature of the lugs and the sculpting of the case back. Look at that curved and cambered sapphire. That is expensive to spec on a watch. Take a look at the profiles. Look at these deep hollows that have been mirror polished and the unusual vertical satination on the case band. I've often said it seems to be a piece of molten metal that has been flash frozen in its molten state. It looks fluid even though it's solid. We have a Moser crown. It is conical in profile with an M outboard, push down crown, 30 meters water resistant. We have a little pusher on the side because when Andreas Streller designed this Perpetual, he reasoned correctly that you don't need to constantly see the leap year phase indicator. So he put the adjuster on the side and the display on the back. That little orange, or I guess we might call it gold, index adjacent to the wheel is both a jumper spring and the indicator for the current leap year phase. Now, Streller is best known as a watchmaker's watchmaker. He designs things for others, and his specialty and claim to fame, aside from being a gifted prototypist, is that he builds complications that are simple to use and outwardly simple. That is, they're complex under the dial, but not above. So he created a perpetual calendar system that features bi-directional setting. You can turn it neither direction any time of day and do no damage to the watch. He also reasoned that with 12 hours, we have the equivalent of 12 months, so a little arrow index coaxial with the hour and minute hand indicates the current month. So you can see how I'm able to jump between 7, which is July, and August, which is 8, just like that. Also note that there are 2 discs superimposed. In order to have a giant date display, Streller used 2 superimposed discs because to have a display that large on a single round disc would result in an enormous watch. So you get a literally big date display without the bulk that can accompany that. Now, there's an interesting system here called double pull. So when you pull the first time, it stops the crown in the position that sets the calendar. Then you pull the second time, and it stops the seconds hand. So if you want to synchronize this watch to a reference time, the first thing you do is you pull once, then you wait for the hand to go where you want, let's say 30, and you pull a second time. The idea is that you can't accidentally pull all the way through to hacking seconds and stop the watch when what you really wanted to do is just correct the calendar. We also have a relatively quick moving power reserve indicator. Manual wind watch, it's got 7 days of rated power reserve, though typical German Swiss, they under-promise and over-deliver. This watch will run for almost 9 days before it actually stops. 7 days is the chronometric power reserve during which it keeps best time. Now, this is an earlier version of Moser's dial, so you see it still says Swiss made and there's no fume fade here. And to traditionalists, that might have a lot of appeal. There's a faceting to create a more graceful break of the dial for the date disc. We have very subtly faceted applique indices for the hours, leaf hands that are faceted down their center for better contrast against the dial base, and then the power reserve indicator. Flip it all over, the movement is gorgeous. This is the HMC 341, and the 341 is a twin barrel movement. You can see the golden chaton cups fixed by polished screws, a nod to the way Moser movements would have been made in the 19th century, back when the company was at its earlier peak. You can see right here, this is the HMC 341-501. A lot of things that would change with time. They stopped labeling things like 7 days power reserve, positional adjustment, jewel count, and movement reference on the calibers. Back when this was made, they still featured all of that. So 2 barrels to give a long power reserve. I believe there are barrels in series for that reason. The entire escapement, balance, and balance bridge assembly lifts out as a unit. The idea being that when the watch goes back to the regional Moser service center, they will be able to service all the easy parts quickly. And then this, which requires a lot of adjustment and precise setting and lubrication, this can be replaced by a preset module that's already had all of those interventions performed, so your watch can get back to you sooner. Beats away at a stately 18,000 vibrations per hour. If you look carefully, you can see there's a solid 14-karat gold escapement, which reduces friction and the need for lubrication. 14-karat gold is mechanical grade gold. That's why that's used. We have an overcoil hairspring, so in any of the 6 tested positions and others, the watch will keep consistent time, since an overcoil has a more centered mass than a flat hairspring. Moser making the balance, escapement, and hairspring all in-house, since Precision Engineering, which is their subsidiary, is one of the few companies in Switzerland that can actually make these parts. You can also see that the train features golden chaton cups all the way down to the 4th wheel. And of course, you will note that there is delicate decoration, including double-crested Côte de Genève, a handsome beveling, polished screw heads. There's satination on the crown wheel core as well as the drive wheels of the train, satination across the balance bridge with beveling on its edge, and we have a full dual-anchored balance bridge with a free-sprung balance for precise adjustment and toughness against shock. There is a lot to love here. 30 meters water resistant, so don't take it swimming, but this is very much a watch designed to be worn every day in other regards. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.